Before I start on this, I have a few really important announcements. Okay, this is from AJ, Ball Don't Lie. Alright, this is so sick. Him and Rambo are going to be doing a weekly podcast every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. These are the times, so check your time. This is happening every week, dude. It's going to be so sick. We're going to see Rambo every week, and him and AJ, like, they're a great duo, you know, like they've been working together for a while, and they're gonna have guests and stuff. It's gonna be sick, you know, so I'm super excited for this, and it's gonna start April 8th, so it's coming up. That's when it's gonna start, and it's gonna be every Tuesday after that. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Also on Thursday morning, me and AJ will have a video together on my channel, but it's gonna be like another one of the book. When we do the book reviews, we did on my channel, we would review his books that he wrote, and we're gonna be doing pretty much another one of those. And I'll be filling into like some information, but he's gonna be showing that he's been on the right track for a while, you know, like since last year. It's been almost a year, but pretty much. And the presentation that we're going to show is going to confirm that, you know, because he has documentation of like the conversations we had and the live streams we did where we were talking about the stuff we're seeing today. And yeah, so just be on the lookout for that. We're going to have that up it's not going to be a live stream because we're going to record it Wednesday night, and then Thursday morning it'll be up, so just be on the lookout for that. And now it's time to get to my presentation. Hey guys, I'm going to try to get through this as fast as possible. It's really late, I'm really tired, and sorry if you hear like some noises in the back, like buzzing. My computer, it's really loud. But yeah, I'm going to be talking about the Myanmar earthquake and show how it connects to the events that have been going on since the last week, the video I made about. I'll get back to that. So I was talking about the last week, the Revelation 12 sign, and the start of the 33rd Venus pentagram point since the Revelation 12 sign, which was on this date here, March 22nd, 25, and that was also the same day that Venus moved into Pegasus. Yeah, this is the video right here. I really recommend checking it out. Venus and Barack, all that. And then I connected it to the Decoders Roundtable that happened 2 days after. And remember, Venus was in Pegasus for 3 days, so till March 25th, and that's going to be important to this puzzle too. But yeah, I would watch this. So going back to this 7-1's video, you should also watch this. He has a crazy synchronicity to the Myanmar earthquake with something he was looking up right before the earthquake happened. I think maybe less than a day before, and he has the documentation. He was looking at the month of Mina in Mars, right? Mina, Mars, Myanmar. So he has documentation that he was looking at that right before the earthquake and in Myanmar, and it was and this has to do with there's a channel called Threadnosis who's been looking at a date upcoming March 11th 2025, and in that body of work that he had included 7-1's video in the past, where he talked about the Neb Algadai, which is the tail of Capricorn, and that was what led him to look into Mina Mars. So it sounds confusing, but I would just go watch this video because it is just insane. And I have my own synchronicity with Mina and Mars that I'm going to share that has to do with all this. It's I think it's going to blow your mind. And then, so yeah, going back to this, we're looking at the and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So this is the Revelation 12 sign, and then this date was the start of the 33rd Venus pentagram. Since the Revelation 12 sign, I think I wrote this wrong. It's just the 33rd Venus pentagram. Yeah, just the 33rd Venus pentagram, so ignore that. And this is the woman of the apocalypse. So we're talking about Mary, right? So this Netflix show, Mary, it released on December 12th, 2024. Okay, so keep that in mind. And I mentioned this number in my video yesterday. My last video, the 3320, which I'll show you in a second. But yeah, and that video had to do with Mary and the woman of the apocalypse. So when this show released, I was 33 years, 2 months, 0 days, like 3320. So this was from my video last week, or my last video, and I was talking about the Sirius 595 code, and the 595th chapter of the whole Bible is Psalms 117, which is the middle chapter of the Bible, the very middle split chapter of the Bible. And so I found out that on 11700, like for Psalms 117, and then the zeros don't count, I was 3320 days old. And widow's son Hiram Abiff equals 3320, and I showed the significance with all this, with the 33rd Venus pentagram and Freemasonry, the 33 degrees of Freemasonry. So it's just, it was perfect. And then I showed that Obama, the day before, like literally the day before, that the alignment actually, like the day before the alignment officially happened, Obama was exactly 3320 weeks. So 3320, 3320, and now we have 3320. My age when the show Mary released. Okay, but it gets crazier because this is equivalent to 398 months. So I was exactly 398 months when the show released on Netflix. And for one, like how I was connecting this, well, I should just mention this first. So sun equals 398, and that's insane to me, you know, because that's what this is about. It's about the birth of the sun, like the Son of God. And it's crazy that I have this alignment, you know, like with, on top of all the other alignments that I showed with the Revelation 12 sign and me and my birth and my dad and my mom, and I showed a lot more with my dad in the last video. But yeah, it's just crazy that I was 390 months old when the show released, and sun equals 398. And I have documented proof as well in my Discord, like a few days before this or a week before this. Casey Jones out of nowhere just messaged me, and he's like, I feel like we should start looking at mother symbolism. I think it's gonna be really important coming up. And then this ended up like I didn't even know this was gonna release. It wasn't even released yet when he messaged me. So it was just like perfect timing. And it's interesting. I never knew, but yeah, sun equals 33. Like how this is all tied to the 33rd Venus pentagram, and then again Freemasonry, and then Jesus Christ died at age 33, and that's another thing too I forgot to mention. But like with this star is known as the sacrifice star, the star of sacrifice. And like, you know, I was talking about the, like, you know, Jesus and the 33 being sacrificed at age 33, or sacrificing himself actually. and also I mentioned the bridge, the Obama bridge incident, where he said that he was honoring the men and women who bled and sacrificed themselves. So I mentioned that in that last video as well. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, so we're here. And there's some other 398s that connect to that last video as well, because I was talking about me being the bridge, and at least the bridge archetype for that situation with the Decoders round table, right? Because I bridged Cody and AJ, and I was like the hidden capstone, keeping like that, allowed that whole thing to occur on March 24th. The Decoders roundtable with AJ, Joey, Rambo, and Cody. And I was talking about the arch in my last video, and so arch equals 398, and Shonda saw the arch equals 398. So that's like super interesting to me, how like that stuff equals 398, and then I was 398 months on the day that this show Mary released on Netflix. Mary, the mother of the Messiah, and I'm not saying that I am that. I'm just saying that I was playing this archetype the whole time around that alignment, and it's just, yeah, it's just perfect. This is just a perfect addition to everything I shared in that video. Okay, so just to remind you guys about this super important number 307, and how it just like, it's just one of the craziest parts of this whole puzzle is from my dad's death to the alignment. The 33rd Venus pentagram is 307 months exactly, and Women of the Apocalypse is 307. Keep in mind that 307 is the 63rd prime. That's going to be very, very important, right? And that's insane because I was talking, a huge part of this puzzle was the 595 and Sirius, and the 595th chapter of the Bible being the very middle chapter of the whole Bible. And the prime factorization of 595 is 5 times 7 times 17, and on 5/7/17 I was exactly 307 months. The exact same as from my dad's death to the alignment. And then just recapping that these things that equal Freemasonry, Freemason is 30, or these things that equal 307, sorry. Freemason equals 307, Lodge 49. The show, I'll explain. So Lodge 49 is 307, and then, yeah, we mentioned Women of the Apocalypse is 307. So Lodge 49 is the show that that Casey Jones showed me that I was, it was pretty much written about me, which is just insane, but it's about a guy named Sean Dudley, and my name is Sean Desaad, who loses his dad, and that's what the show is about. And like all my decoding is about, revolves around my dad, who died when I was 7 years old. And this obviously the 49 connects to Venus because the magic square of Venus is a 7x7 grid, all the numbers between 1 and 49. But yeah, so the Lodge 49 was a huge part of the alignment with me and my dad. Let me show you this. So yeah, we're gonna be looking at 6/24/24. This was the day that I became the same age that my dad was when I was born, which was 1707 weeks. From my dad's birth to my birth, 1707 weeks. And then from my birth to June 24, 24, that was when I became the same age. And on this day, June 24, 24, June 24, 24 was the 307th anniversary of Freemasonry. Again, we're talking about the 33rd pentagram, the 33 degrees of the 33 degrees of Freemasonry, all that. So that day was the 307th birthday of Freemasonry, and also exactly 307 weeks from that show, Lodge 49, that I just told you about. So there was a huge, an unbelievable thing with this 307, and then having to do with this alignment. Like I said, it was the 307 months after my dad's death was when Venus moved into Pegasus, and the start of the 33rd Venus pentagram. So remember this, all right? This is going to be key. This is crazy. This is one of the craziest things I think you could find, and it's just the fact that it really does revolve around me and my dad because of all the 307s. Like, just, you'll see. Okay, so when you go from the start of Freemasonry to the release of the show, which I already showed you, I had all those connections to Mary, Woman of the Apocalypse, is 30763% of a common year. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Can you believe that? I can't. Actually can't. I think I think this is an April Fool's joke, to be honest. But like, look at that. 307 is the 63rd prime. Like, it could not be, it couldn't be more perfect from the start. Look at how crazy that is. Okay, we're going all the way back from the start of Freemasonry, and I already showed you that I have connections to the start of Freemasonry with me and my dad, and like that's already a given. You just can't even deny that no more. And then I showed you all the connections that I have to the show, and how the Woman of the Apocalypse has to do with this alignment. So, from the start of Freemasonry to this show, Mary, 30763% of a common year. 307 is the 63rd prime. Woman of the Apocalypse is 307. And yeah, I wrote it just to proof. You can even, it's the span, but yeah, you can try it yourself, but you have to do it on this website because the Julian calendar, right? So it's legit. I didn't lie, and I wouldn't be surprised if you thought I was lying, but you can try it yourself. It's just perfect. And this is gonna connect to what I was talking about in the beginning with the earthquake and all that. So let's just show that now. And then, so I'm just gonna show like the sequence of events that have happened since, like, there was the alignment on 322, and then I had showed how this decoders roundtable, this was on 324, and then I made this follow-up video about it, showing how this was connected to that, and just how there's a huge synchronicity with, again, me like being the bridge. And we were talking about the very middle chapter of the whole Bible, Psalms 117, the 595th chapter of the Bible, and it showed how Sirius has a bunch of connections to like middle symbolism, stuff like that. And then, yeah, so now I'm going to be talking about this again to elaborate on it more. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but yeah, Deneb Al-Gadai is the tail of Capricorn, which he explains it. But it's really interesting that Deneb Al-Gadai equals 325. Just keep that in mind. I'll explain you might you might know if you know, but if you don't, like, I'm gonna explain, and it's gonna be wild. Yeah, here it is. So it has to do with the magic square of Mars, which is a 5 by 5 grid, and it's all the numbers between 1 and 25, and all the numbers between 1 and 25, when you add them up, like 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 all the way to 25 equals 325. So here is my crazy synchronicity with 7-1, and this is just something you just have to take my word for it, and you you know, hopefully you believe me. I'm telling the truth, but I would not blame you if you thought I was just coming up with some random story just to fit in to this whole puzzle. But I'm telling you the truth, and I have text messages, I have the documentation. I'm not gonna share it here, but I can prove it. So on 3/25, the day after the round table, on 3/25, I met because I've been in this in a job search, and I was contacted by a job recruiter, and her name was Mina. On 3/25, like the magic square of Mars, 3/25, and even with the year 25, all the numbers between one, it's 25 is the highest number. So 3/25, 25, huge magic square of Mars date. And on that day, I connected with the recruiter named Mina. So Mina, Mars, just like 7-1's connection, he was looking at Mina, the date or the month of Mina on Mars, because that's the month on Mars, Mina, and then Mina Mars connected to Myanmar. So I guess you could think of it like if I was playing this archetype, like I said, I was playing the him as the archetype of that whole situation with the astrological alignment of Venus and Pegasus, and then the decoder's round table. So it's almost like me and Mar, kind of. But I mean, this one's still, his is still amazing. But it blew my mind because when I saw the video, it helped me put the dots together with what was happening with me, because I didn't even think about it. I really didn't. And then I was like, wait a minute, Mina. And I was like, what day was it when I met her? And then I checked and I was like, oh my god, the magic square Mars, Mina Mars. Okay, so to continue with the story, the next day she got me a job interview on 3/26, and actually was offered the job later that day. So I had the job interview and they offered me the position. I didn't accept it yet, but yeah, that all happened one day, and one day after I met Mina on the day of Mars. And this was super interesting because on 3/26, Capricorn equals 3/26, just like how his video was like, that's the cover of his video, the tale of Capricorn. That's the cover of his video, and it has to do with his whole synchronicity because of his video that he did on Deneb Al-Gadai a long time ago is what helped Red Gnosis put his work together for the 6/11 date. So there's a lot more, like I said, you really should watch his video. But yeah, it was insane because it was on 3/26 and Capricorn is 3/26. And also this is actually I don't think it's the exact tower, but it's like one of them right next. So this is like what my building looks like, and this is the area, but I'm not gonna dox myself anymore because now I know that there's like, I don't know, I've lost trust for people, and they're like low-key like stalkerish, so I'm just not gonna dox myself no more. But yeah, like this is where I will be working, and that was something that really stuck out to me because I've never worked in like a tall building before, so it'll be like my first time, and that was one thing that really sold me because I love the view and I love the area. So just keep in mind that the tower, okay, um a lot of people in our community have talked about the Tower Tarot card, and you know, Casey's really instilled that, to me at least, that the tower equals 1248. So keep that in mind. All right. Also keep in mind the lightning. All right, because we were talking. Remember in my video I was talking about Barak, and Barak means lightning. So just keep that in mind. And then the day after is when I accepted the job. So I was gonna put the synchronous. I have a lot of. Oh my god! Like I can't even explain right now how crazy the synchronicities are. Like with me getting the job, just with that alone, without the earthquake and the Venus and all that stuff. Or I think, but I'm gonna make a separate video, smaller, maybe tomorrow or something. So the syncs won't be at the end for the job part, but it's okay because there's enough in this video that you're just you'll be okay with this being in a separate video, I promise. And then the 28th, okay, so that's when the Myanmar earthquake happened, 328. And then the 29th was when Neptune moved into Aries, right? Casey Jones, Cody did a really good video on it too, like really good video. You should go check that out. And I believe Derek's talked about it, but there's a huge astrological alignment because Neptune hasn't moved into Aries. What was the first time since the Civil War, American Civil War? And Cody pointed out how Myanmar is in a civil war, and Neptune is the god of earthquakes. Neptune is the god of earthquakes, so it was just like very connected, you know. And then also the eclipse was that day, so a huge string of events. I mean, those, you know, these were had to do with my job, but I'm going to prove that these things that happened to me were like foreshadows for what was to come. Okay, so let me get into that. Let's talk about the number 585 first, and this is something, again, learned Casey Jones, 7-1. I learned about this 585 code from them. It has to do with earthquakes, the study of earthquakes and eclipses. So let's just read it slowly. In 585 BC, Miletus, a Greek philosopher and a mathematician, he's credited with early theories about earthquakes, suggesting the Earth. But that's not important. But that was the earliest study of earthquakes, 585 BC, and the first known prediction of a solar eclipse, attributed to the Greek philosopher Miletus, occurred on May 25th or 28th, 585 BC. So this 585 code is a huge earthquake code. And keep in mind that the 585th prime is 4261. So we're gonna use my date conversion technique and turn this into the date 4/26/1, April 26/01. Okay, so hold on your seats, okay? So from 4/26/01 to this day, okay, so again, the day I was offered the job, 326, Capricorn is 326. Don't forget that. Okay, it was exactly 1248 weeks. The tower equals 1248, like we mentioned. All right, and then you see the tower tarot card, And I mentioned how the tower was a huge aspect of um, me deciding to accept the offer, because I really liked the area, and I loved the view and all that. And the tower, this didn't happen on the 26th. The point I was making, because this is the Thailand tower collapse that happened during the earthquake on the 28th. And the point I was making with that was that this was like a foreshadow. And then like, and again, it's crazy because 7-1's video had to do with, like, it had the Capricorn and the Al Gadai or whatever, um, in the cover of his thumbnail. And then this happened on 326. So 326 was 1248 weeks after 42601. 4261 is the 585th prime, just like the study of earthquakes began in 585 BC, and the first prediction of a solar eclipse. So, like, I think that's absolutely mind-blowing, Exactly 1248 weeks on the nose. And the tower equals 1248. Like, I think you guys get it, because it's like this. Like, think about if you would have known that, like, because I remember I on 326, like, the earthquake didn't even happen yet, but I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting that it's 1248 weeks. I knew that it was 1248 weeks after. Like, I'm always looking at this date I'm always looking at this date, because I've known about the 585th prime for a long, long time. So I'm always just like looking at dates, and I would have thought that something was going to happen on that day. But that's why it's so interesting how, like, the Capricorn aspect with 7 connected to the Myanmar earthquake when this actually did happen. You know what I mean? And this same span is 287 months. So this is the same span as this, 287 months. And Myanmar equals 287. So I think you guys should see where I'm coming from. Like, exactly 287 months. So basically this was like in the background, and this was like, if you would have been able to put this together, you could have been like you could have, if you're really, really looking into it, you're like, okay, on 326, 287 months after 4261, with that being the 585th prime, and that's the earthquake code. So someone might have thought that there was gonna be something happening in Myanmar on that day, but it didn't happen on that day. Or it did not happen on that day. But still, the way that this day connects to what happened, like I said, super interesting. Sorry if I'm kind of like slurring my words. I'm super tired. But yeah, so breaking this down a little bit more, it's really interesting because Myanmar, like we said, equals 287, and the prime factorization of 287 is 7 times 41, and Saturn equals to 741, and Saturn rules Capricorn. So that is super, super interesting to me. Not to mention my dad. My dad was a Capricorn. He was born, I think the last day of Capricorn, and yeah. So again, just keep this in mind. Again, like I kind of briefly mentioned before, but like, it's interesting because it has the lightning, right? The lightning bolt, the tower card, and then on whenever I posted that video, when did I post the video about? Okay, so I posted this video the day of the earthquake. Wow, I did not even know that until right now. But I posted this video. I made it on the 27th. I made it on the 27th because you guys know how I do my videos. They premiere in the morning for me, so that means I made it on the 27th. I was putting this stuff together on March 27th, and then it came out on the 28th. But I think the earthquake had already happened because I do remember like in the middle of the night, Cody messaging me, telling me about the earthquake. But yeah, I was already putting this stuff together, and I mean, yeah, it's crazy because I was talking about Barak and Pegasus, but yeah, Barak means lightning, so it's like that is just super super interesting to me. I think you guys can see where I'm coming from. Now bringing this verse into it again. Like, I've talked about this verse many times, and I'm still surprised it hasn't caught on as much as I believe it should, because I've shown like countless examples of how utilized this verse is. John 10:30, I and my Father are one, equals 14:14. Like, I've shown like maybe over 100 examples, and there's more examples than are needed. Than for I think it's time for people to like start embracing it more, because it's undeniable. Like, it's not something that I'm just like connecting to myself. I've pretty much discovered like I've discovered something new that is being used externally, like outward, like it's not just me, but the connection that I have with my dad that was what led me to find how coded this verse is. So that's that. But anyways, and here's an example of that. I'm going to show a perfect example, because again, this is 14:14, and when you use my date conversion, which it shouldn't even just be mine anymore, that's another thing that should be utilized more. But from 1/4, January 4/14, to the day that Venus moved into Barak, that was exactly 585 weeks. So what are the odds of that? What are the odds that from John 10:30, I and my Father are one, equaling 14:14, and all the stuff I was showing you, how I was connected, how me and my Father were connected to this alignment. It's not even up for debate. And so then from 1/4 to the alignment is 585 weeks, and then how I showed you that the 585th prime is 4261, and from 4261 to this date, okay, that was 4 days after. Actually, it was the day after Venus came out of Pegasus, because Casey Jones had mentioned that Venus was there for 3 days. So from the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and I guess it came out the 25th. So then there's this alignment here, like with both of them, with the 585 and the prime. Like, it's legit. I know, like my brain, it's hurting my brain, but like, I can't even. I'm just trusting that you guys get it and that I can move on. But I just, please take this seriously. Like, please take me seriously. Like, I know I'm on point. Like, I know I am. Please, like, I really just hope that you can treat me like I'm really like killing this, because I know I am. And this is something I learned just today. I had no idea, but I was talking about the arc and the bridge, and me being the bridge, and I've talked a lot about the 69, with like that being the symbol of Cancer, and my dad dying from cancer. And the 69 is the capstone of the two pillars. I did not know until today that earthquake equals 1691, and this is this. This is this. The whole thing. It's the pillars and the 69 as a capstone. It is. And I think this might be another thing that I'm pioneering, because that's like super on the money right there. The 69 between the pillars. It's just, I think that's gold right there. And I mentioned this in my last video, how Casey Jones told me how Barack Obama turned 787 lunar months the day that Venus moved into Barack. And I mentioned that Freemasonry equals 787, and I learned today that Myanmar earthquake is 787, and the tail of the goat, which that is what the Neg Algadai is referred to as, the tail of the goat. That equals 787. So it's just like when I was putting this stuff together, I did not know that these things were going to be, that something was going to be like these things were going to be connected to this. I had no idea until like the earthquake happened, obviously, but again, it was just like more foreshadowing. It had to have been, you know. And the tail of the goat equals Sean Desada Bridge, and this is, I literally put this in my last video, because I was talking about me being the bridge, which I was, and it's crazy that the tail of the goat equals the same thing in the same cipher, and earthquake equals 457 as well. So again, just more craziness. Yeah. Alright, yeah, I guess we're almost done, but this is crazy, man. Okay. I am gonna do another video on this, but there's this movie called The Family Plan. I watched this on my 33rd birthday, and I'm actually a huge Mark Wahlberg fan, and so is AJ. Me and AJ have very similar tastes. We have we both love Blink 182, and we have the same favorite actor. And yeah, so we both love Mark Wahlberg, and this movie, okay, so it released on this date, but let me read, this is my own personal summary of it. Okay, so Mark Wahlberg plays a car salesman, family man, so he's just a normal family man, and that's he's just a car salesman. Okay, so when I was watching the movie, I was already like, I did not even know what it was about. I didn't know like that he was going to be a car salesman. I just wanted to watch this movie because, again, he was my favorite actor. And then I was like, oh, that's funny, you know, with me watching it on my 33rd birthday, and then my dad was a car salesman. So that's what I was like, oh, wow, like that's like perfect. What a perfect, you know, perfect movie to watch right now. My dad was a car salesman, like my whole life up until he died. And just continuing with the summary. So in his past, he was an assassin in his past. So his family knew him as Dan, and then also, sorry, I forgot to mention, spoiler alert. If you don't want spoilers, skip this part. Please skip this part. But if not, if you're cool with it, then let's continue. So his family doesn't even know. So, okay, let me just read. His name is Sean, okay? His name is Sean, but they don't know his name is Sean. They think his name is Dan because he has a fake identity. Cause he used to work for his dad, because his dad was the head honcho. And he was an assassin for his dad. So like I said here, his family doesn't know his past. And the movie is about his father and his gang hunting him down to try to get him back to, back to the old ways of, him being an assassin. And but he just wants to be a normal. He ran away from that lifestyle because he wants to just be a normal family guy. And um, the movie is basically a whole chase of, you don't even know until the end that it's his dad. It's his dad who's hunting him down. His You just know that he's being hunted down, and you don't know who's chasing him. And he tells his family that they're just going on a vacation, and he's hiding it the whole time, and he's like, just being real smooth with it. And it's so funny because he's like doing all these car chases and then like casually like beating up guys, but just his like he does it so nonchalantly, just because he's making it seem like, he's just like on a normal family vacation. And then like everything kind of just like unravels at the end, and everyone finds out the truth, and that his actual name is Sean, and he's being assassin for his dad, and his dad's trying to kidnap him and all that. But he ends up winning in the end. So it's this battle between him and his dad. And I was like, when so here's the part. Okay, this is the part where he's telling his family, and it's like way past, like halfway. It's like almost towards the end, and he says, "My real name is Sean." And that's when I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. And the assassin part, I'll get into that another time. But I have shown that there is a weird like assassination connection with my dad. Like I've shown crazy connections to my dad with Abraham Lincoln and JFK, just like numerically, and it's freaking unbelievable. But like, there's more to it, and we'll get into it another time. But even with the assassination part and the car salesman part, that stuff was already like, I was already kind of tripping because I've already seen those connections. And then this happens, and he's like, "My real name is Sean," and I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. And then you find out that his dad is the one who's, he's been fighting against this whole time. But this is where it all comes together, okay? Because the final part where they're fighting, when he's fighting against his dad and his men, is at the Poseidon Casino Hotel, and Poseidon is Neptune. So you see him here, and then the Trident Bar. And I'm not kidding. You guys can, like, if you guys think I'm lying, you can watch this movie for yourself. But like it's so insane how this like lines up with what's going on right now. Like, let me just show you the numbers. With Neptune moving into Aries, and they're at war. Like they're at war. Like they're at war against him. This is the dad, Sean's dad. So from the release of that movie to the alignment, the Venus in Pegasus or Barak, and the start of the 33rd Venus pentagram since the Revelation 12 sign, that was 464 days, and Sean Ricardo de Sade equals 464 in Latin. Like, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Right? That's perfect, right? Yes. That's perfect. And that huge 326 day, like that we saw not that long ago. So that was 66 weeks and 6 days after the movie released, and 66 years and 66 days after my dad was born. So this crazy day that I showed, I put it here again, with this freaking crazy alignment with the 585 and the earthquake code and the tower, on top of me getting my job, and the Capricorn, that whole thing with the Neg Algadai. And so on this day, like where we've been looking at, that was 66 weeks and 6 days after the movie released, where they were friggin' in, this was they were at war with the dad. This is the end of the movie. And that day happens to be 66 years and 66 days after my dad was born. Like, my dad would have been 66 years and 66 days. So like, like I still need to see something like that. I need to, you know, and like I've never seen anything like that. I'm sorry. And it's just crazy how all this stuff connects to all the crazy stuff that I found in the last video, you know, like, so I am showing how like this Myanmar earthquake was connected to the Venus and Pegasus and the 33rd Venus pentagram, like with all this stuff, like for sure, like it's all connected, and then it looks like I'm the bridge to that connection. Like it, you know, like I can't help but think that. How could I not think that? How could I not think that? How could you blame me? So again, just to recap, that from, you know, the earthquake code, the 585 earthquake code, the 585 prime is 4261. From 4261 to 326, exactly 1248 weeks. The tower is 1248. There was a tower collapse 2 days after this. I talked about the lightning and Barak. This is, yeah, this is the building. Well, I chose the building next to where I work because I didn't want to get dogs, but this is exactly what it looks like. I got the job that day. It was also 287 months after that same day, the earthquake day, and Myanmar equals 287. So 287 months, like months, like exactly. And what else? Okay, 5 more slides. We're almost done. So I showed this, but just to break this down a little bit more, the 741st minute of the day, and he has something I learned from Casey Jones again, because he's the best. So the 741st minute of the day is 12:21 p.m. 12:21, and this is something he's really instilled to me, or instilled in me. This 1221 ABBA, Abba, Father, right? And then there was even a great conjunction, a father-son great conjunction with Jupiter and Saturn on 12:21. But I mean, it's interesting because a huge part of like the round table and just March Madness and, you know, and AJ's work has been Cooper Flagg, and he was born on 12/21, and he was 6,666 days old on the huge alignment, the Venus moving into Pegasus. And also, I forgot to mention how like perfect that is, because like, you know, with the flag, and there's all these pentagrams on the flag, so it's just like, that is so spot on right there. And I'm sure the stripes are representative of the sacrifice, like the, you know, the crucifixion and the stripes of Jesus and his sacrifice for us. So continuing with Cooper Flagg, I had mentioned the day that his first game with Duke, 11/4/24, and I mentioned how on that day I was like, it had to do with Sirius the dog star, because I was 12083 days old, and Sirius the dog star equals 1283. But that same span was I was 33 years and 29 days old. And this is interesting because the 3329 or 33 and 29, I learned this from 7-1, how that's the second and 10th primes. And that's super interesting because Revelation 6:12 about the great earthquake, and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, some as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became his blood. So also eclipses. That's 22:10. like 2, 2, 10, the second, 10th primes. So it's so interesting that just, you know, happened to be a huge earthquake. So this is the day I was 612 weeks old. And when you go from my 612th week to Neptune going into Aries and the eclipse, and that's super important because Cody's video really breaks that down really well, how like Neptune going into Aries was exactly what that earthquake was about. Again, with Neptune being the god of earthquakes and Aries the god of war, and Myanmar is in the middle of a civil war, and the last time that Neptune was in Aries was the American Civil War. So that it was just absolutely insane. And it's insane that from my 6/12 week to that day was exactly 261 months. And the prime factorization of 261 is 3 times 3 times 29. Just like 3329. And you see how crazy that is? From my 6/12 week, like Revelation 6:12 about the great earthquake, to this huge alignment that had to do with everything with the earthquake, was 261 months exactly. And that's 3 times 3 times 29, the second, and 10th primes. The second, and 10th primes. And Revelation 6:12 equals 2, 2, 10. Like, that is unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. And what makes that even more and more and more unfreaking believable, what I just showed with Cooper Flagg. So if you go from Cooper Flagg's birth to that day, is a span of 6,674 days, and Revelation 6:12, when you include the phrase Revelation 6:12 to the whole gematria, is 6674. Like, how the heck can all that be freaking possible? How? Please, like, ask yourself. Don't like try not to just like brush this off. Like, this is freaking insane, dude. Like, I don't know, I just think that sometimes my stuff just is too crazy. You know, I know I feel like I would be inclined to do the same, you know. If I was in your shoes, I would just be like, this is just too crazy, I just can't even, like, I don't even want to deal with it. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's just finish it off, okay? So just considering all that, all right, and this is from Seven's video. This was the actual part that Thread Gnosis put in his video, which that's how Sev, I guess, like, why 7-1 saw the significance of the Deneg Al-Gadai with this whole earthquake. And the part that he had and this is one of his old videos, he was talking about when the sun was passing the tail of Capricorn, and that just really struck a chord with me because, like I mentioned earlier, my dad was born in Capricorn, and he died in Leo, and Leo is ruled by the sun. So I was like, just with all that and like the huge significance with, I just felt like this was just a huge part of or just a huge synchronicity, you know. It was a huge synchronicity that he had, and it was just crazy that I had a synchronicity with it too, with my job. Where is it? Yeah, I guess I should. Yeah, like, I had this synchronicity, you know, when I got the job, I got the interview and the offer on 326, and Capricorn equals 326. And this day I showed you how huge it was with this and this, and then the family plan. Yeah, so with this, so it's a trip, you know. Like hopefully you can just like I don't know, man. This is I don't know what's going on. I'm just I don't know. I'm freaking tired right now, so I have to end the video. But yeah, I'm probably gonna make another video with this movie. It's just crazy. I remember when I first watched it, I was just tripping out. I was like, well, what the heck is going on? Considering that it was my 33rd birthday. And like another thing that I wanted to mention is like he's the father and the son, you know, because he's the father to them. He's the father, and then with him fighting his dad, so he's playing the father and the son. So like he's the bridge, right? Right. And then I'm gonna make a video on, oh yeah, more about my job. Dude, there's some crazy stuff with my job. It's like, it's such a beautiful, it's so beautiful. Like, I can't wait to share. I really can't. But for now, okay. Never mind. Actually, okay. I wanted to do it in the beginning of the video. So you might see it in the beginning of the video. I might edit it in, but I'm gonna share it again. So there's some really important announcements. All right, for one, yeah, this is not an April Fool's joke. AJ is going to have a weekly podcast with Rambo. It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be starting on April 8th. Okay, it's gonna be so sick. I cannot wait. And they're gonna be having guests. He's going real hard with this, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna be asking a bunch of you guys. So just it's gonna be so cool. Like it's legit. Like, you know, we're gonna get to see Rambo every week on YouTube. You know, how cool is that? So the next thing is that me and AJ, we're gonna be filming a video Wednesday night, and it's gonna be coming out Thursday morning, and it's really sick. Like we already we went through it, and it's really his video, like his work, and it's like a compilation of the work that, like the live streams that we've done in the past, and he's showing like undoubtedly too that the stuff that we're seeing now, that we're connecting, like we have talked, like we really were talking about that back almost a year ago, because we started doing live streams together in May of last year, and then we did like 4 or 5, but and they were based on his books, but his books, he was onto something really early on, and he's gonna show that, and yeah, just be on the lookout for Thursday morning. But again, this might be the second time you're hearing these announcements, because I'm gonna edit it, I'm gonna refilm it, put it in the front of the video as if I didn't forget. But yeah, thank you guys for watching my presentation today, and bearing with me, my tiredness and this like heavy information. Take care. God bless. See ya.